We put the Alliance tires on both the combines last fall, both the fronts, and then the rear on the four-wheel drive model here. Alton at Degenhardt's kind of pushed me to get them a little bit. He talked about the good traction and the ride, and we do have a real nice ride out of them.
And we went with the IF tire on the front because we were looking for the 20% less air pressure and carry the same amount of load as a conventional radial. And it's got the steel belted casing with a stubble guard compound mixed in it. And the customer does a lot of road travel, so basically it's like a huge car tire. Essentially, it's what it is. And so I weighed it. We weighed it, and we're running 23 in the front and 16 in the back. And basically, is what we did is when this was the first combine I ever weighed. And so we drove it on the scales, I weighed it, made my calculations, figured out how much air pressure we needed in it, and then we actually left the combine on the scales to when we deflated them, and you could see the weight was going down, which proves that by having the tire inflated properly, you do get less ground compaction. We actually lost about 3,000 pounds of ground pressure across the front axle. I believe we aired them up to 30 just to get the beads, the seat, and everything, so 7 pounds of air made a 3,000 pounds difference.
It's almost hard to believe, but he had them scales there, and as you let air out, it actually made a lighter footprint. I guess it's just spreading that pattern out more evenly.
That's usually the #1 complaint I have with IF and VF tires is guys say they look like they're flat. I'm like, no, they're supposed to, I call it squatty. They're supposed to look squatty, because that's what allows that tire to lay out and get the less, bigger footprint, less soil compaction, better traction, and then, it makes it a nicer ride as well. So what we have here, this was a different case combine we did, so this had 970 32s, and so at 35 PSI, this is our footprint. That's pretty cut and dried, 3.5 bars on the ground. So then we adjusted the air pressure down to 30, so we're talking a 5 PSI difference. And this is what we came up with. Here you can see we got just about 6 bars on the ground, between 5 and 6 bars on the ground. So basically the footprint essentially doubled by the time you get it full in the field with, with corn or beans. And so talking to the customer afterwards, he said that, road lope went away. He's like, the machine held better on the hills, improved traction. Some places where he usually needed 4-wheel drive, he only needed 2-wheel drive. And he said that their main big complaint before was that it always leave big ruts in the field when it had 35 pounds in it. Well, as you can see, it's riding on that center part of the tire, so it's basically like a big ski. And that's why they were having that issue. And he's like, I drove around for, he's like, I tried for 10 minutes waiting for the grain cart to show up. He's like, driving around the field, like I couldn't get to leave any big ruts in the field. He's like, air pressure is key, and that's basically why I did this, just to prove to guys that you say, 5 pounds of air doesn't really matter. Well, obviously it does.
When it comes to the air pressure, after Alton weighed the combines and adjusted the air pressure, I could see how important that was. Until you see some of that stuff, you really don't realize how important it really is.